Whenever you are ready, as long as it's in the next 30 seconds.
All right. In 1969, we landed our first person on the moon. After subsequent missions, our space program took a dive. This is mainly due to the lack of competition with Russia at that time. We see in the recent 2 decades that increasing money does not increase our space exploration program. That is why we need to shift to a private sector. Privatization will cause 3 improvements from this government system. First, it will be less expensive. NASA wrote an article in 2006 that said, NASA expects that purchasing commercial space transportation services will be more economical than developing government systems of comparable compatibility. It will also be more efficient. Because it's the private sector, it will naturally reduce their costs in order to keep it functioning and making more profit. It will also become more relevant because other companies can do private research through these companies and they won't have to rely on the government anymore. In the same document, they said, the biggest benefit of the anticipated cost savings is the opening of new markets for an emerging industry. According to Lindemonger, if we had cost-effective access, many new markets, biotechnology, microgravity research, industrial parks in space, manufacturing, tourism could start to open. That's why it is so important. That's what's so important about this effort. It has actually already begun. It said that NASA is making an unprecedented investment in commercial space transportation services with the hope of creating a competitive market for supply flights to the International Space Station. NASA desires a human presence in space. Leonard Doyle and Richard Gray in 2009 said NASA is turning to commercial companies to help guarantee America can keep human presence in space after the shuttle is retired in 2010. Since we just had our space shuttle retired, we'll have to depend on other companies. Private companies have already advanced much in this area. SpaceX, one of these companies, was founded in 2002. They are already on their way. SpaceX, in a 2011 article, said the December launch was the first flight under NASA's COTS program to develop commercial supply services to the International Space Station. Orbital is also another major contender with many flights that are already going into space and being tested for use. However, these are not going fast enough for manned space exploration. We propose that the federal government should increase federal aid to manned space exploration. The need is very great. NASA just made their last space shuttle launch. We still have the International Space Station, and we don't want to rely on Russia or China or India to get our astronauts down or up from here. NASA in a 2009 article said, without help from private space companies, NASA may be forced to buy astronaut seats on the Russian spacecraft. Alternately, the U.S. could seek seats on vehicles being developed by other nations, including China and India. It seems strange to use public funding to increase private competition. So, you must be wondering how we're going to do this. It's done through competitions toward reaching certain objectives. NASA in a 2009 article said it also launched a competition for a commercial vehicle that could transport supplies to the International Space Station. As I said earlier, SpaceX in only 9 years has done this. We can see from this that it works. Many of the competitions are being strived toward, and a few of them have already been accomplished. Doug Cook, an associate administrator of in the Exploration Systems Department, says, the very first capabilities that we'll need in going beyond low Earth orbit, which includes a space launch system and a multi-purpose crew vehicle. These are 2 of the things that we can use to get private companies to continue to grow and produce the things that we need in order to do manned space exploration. Orbital has already started a mini shuttle design. They used a small plane, and it said that Orbital sees a reusable spaceplane design as a cheaper and safer way to move crews to and from the ISS. Of course, first, Orbital has to build, launch, and prove its spaceplane. SpaceX as well has started on many projects. In 2011, they sent out a report saying, on December 13th, we submitted our proposal to NASA's Commercial Crew Development Program to begin working on preparing Dragon to carry its astronauts. However, it also said that the Dragon spacecraft is scheduled to fly at least 11 more times, and the Falcon launch, which is another vehicle that's used to take people into space, to and from the space station, and many other things. His vehicle is scheduled to fly 17 times before the first Dragon crew flight. 11 more tests means around 3 more years, at least, before we get a man in space and we can transport him. This means for 3 more years we're going to have to rely on other space companies. This is one of the main reasons why we need to increase federal funding in order toward the manned space exploration and the effects of increasing competitive systems so that the private industry will increase their manned space exploration programs.